Welcome back to Craft Truck. This is Tech Bites. I am here with Michael from Fujifilm. We are taking a look at the new CC box.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining us. We're here to show you the IS100, which is the official designation of it, affectionately known as the CC box, which is a hardware piece of equipment that sits over here. It's connected wirelessly to the iPad because the iPad is where all the fun stuff happens. The actual hardware unit has 2 channels of HD-SDI input and 2 channels of HD-SDI output as well. This, as you can see, is a live picture coming from the C500 that's outputting in Canon log. It's going into the CC box, and it is being put into the ACES color space through what's called the IDT, or Input Device Transform. And we have IDTs for all the major cameras that are on the market today. That is one of the things that sets CC box apart from anything else like this. It's the only thing on the market that is 100% ACES compatible. So that was your setup screen. You saw me choose the camera. You also are able to tell it what kind of monitor you're using. But better than that, we can actually create a monitor calibration, a profile of any monitor that's out there. It can be a high-end SDI monitor, it can be a plasma, it can be an LCD, it can be an OLED, it can even be a cheap off-the-shelf DVI monitor. And we have 3 very simple tools for doing the LUT creation. We have a standard CDL view, which works very simply by operating on the virtual trackballs right here on the iPad. And if you can see in the image behind, you see it's updating in real time. This also will work with a third-party interface. I can undo, step back in history if I want, or I can simply reset that entire look just to default. We have a tone curve, which is familiar to anybody who's coming from a photographic background. You just touch and drag, and you can brighten and darken the image overall. You can select the points, and you can draw an S-curve as you want. You can move the highlights, you can move the toe value anywhere you want. You can also do it in individual color channels. So I've selected green, and that's not very pretty, but for demonstration purposes, you can see what I've got. Now, you'll see this blinking. It says Save as New Look, and here's another cool thing. When I hit that, it references the time code coming from camera. And now if I go back to the scene file, now you notice this was where I started. There was just a blank image here. When I hit the Save as New Look, it also did a frame grab. And it will do this for every look that you do throughout the day, for every scene, for the entire project. And what's cool about that is when you export your LUTs, those frame grabs get exported as well. And they get exported in 3 different forms. You get a JPEG of the fully graded look, and you also get, you get a JPEG and a DPX of the fully graded look, and you also get a DPX of the original ungraded camera image. So your editor, your post house, have a still image reference of everything that you've been doing. It also appears in a full report along with camera metadata and all the ins and outs, and the frame grabs are also in there. So I talked about export, and this is, after all, you're doing on set what you want your post house to do when they get your raw files. So you will export into whatever color corrector format you want. We are compatible with all the major color correctors on the market. So as you can see, you just simply choose which one you want, right? Hit done.
So what does this mean for, say, the colorist who's getting the files later on? Is that going to be easier for a colorist when dealing with a DP or a director in session for, like, say, a feature film?
What it does is it completely smooths the communication between the DP and the colorist, because the colorist basically just needs to take the LUTs and apply them into the timeline in whatever color corrector they're using, and it will simply convert the image into those colors without any question. So that is a perfect place to start your grade.
What about the typical need for a DIT or someone of that nature to be on set to make sure that they're dealing with the DP or the director, whoever's setting the looks? Is it something that somebody would have to be trained for, or is it like just another part of a DIT workflow, or where does that fit in? Who's responsible for making this happen?
Well, in terms of training, basically what I just did in the last couple of minutes is pretty much all you need to know. So you all have now been trained to use the CC box. By the way, let me mention the app is a free download on the iTunes App Store, Fujifilm CC box. It'll work from your home. It'll be something called a demo server. You can play with it on your couch in your living room. But in terms of the DIT, that depends on the DP. Because it's so easy to use, some DPs are perfectly comfortable in picking up the iPad, doing the look, putting it down, then going back onto the set and seeing what's happening. A lot of DPs just feel they don't have the time, they don't want to be worried about that, they want to be worried about framing, they want to be worried about lighting. They'll let the DIT do that. So it's strictly on a project-by-project basis on the comfort zone for the DP and the producer, whether the producer wants to hire a DIT or not. If not, this is an easy tool for the DP to do themselves.
Thanks so much to Michael Bolbenko from Fujifilm. This sounds like something I know a lot of filmmakers could use, so I'm glad the information's getting out there. This was Tech Bites.